Welcome to the EdSales Edge Live. Excuse me. We got a lot of different things going on today, including maybe something in my throat as we get going. So thank you for bearing with me there. We have changed the time on you. We're meeting 1 hour earlier. I'm at South by Southwest EDU where it's 11:01. And my guest, Ryan, who is as sharp as friggin' could be, is joining us. And like every other guest that I've ever had, I don't even have to tell them, but everybody, John Gamba, Ryan, they come in looking good and they show up at the last minute, like pure talent, you know? And me and Alvin, we're getting worried. We're wondering, is this thing going to happen? Is this thing going to happen? We got to go live. And then Ryan shows up. Welcome, Ryan. We can't hear you, Ryan. Let's do a mic check whenever you get a chance. Otherwise, if we just get to look at that sweet blue suit you got, that works too. Ryan's going to join us when he can. He's the Deputy Minister of New Brunswick up in Canada. I met Ryan through the great Robert Machalacci, who is also known as the Lighthouse, because he gives off light and energy and makes amazing introductions like this. Today, what we're talking about, as I join you from South by Southwest EDU, and we are 2.5 hours away from doing our meetup, which a lot of people down here are calling a party. A lot of people down here are calling a party. It's not a party, but it's a meetup, but that's okay. We're going to have probably 50 to 100 people in the room moving around. John Gamba, myself, and Moby, who's our MC. Not that Moby, but our friend Moby Hyatt. So what we are doing today, though, is we are talking about listening. And I'm really excited to have my guest, Ryan, because the last thing I want to do is come on to the EdSales Edge Live and just talk when I want to be listening to Ryan and all of his stories. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to dive deep into this idea of listening is because Ryan told me a story about how, as deputy minister, aka in the United States superintendent, people don't listen to him. Founders in the education space, they walk into meetings ready to present slides, demo. They've got all their proof points lined up. And they don't do any listening at all. And when you don't listen, you can't improve your messaging. Vendors, providers tend to present before they understand the environment. Now I can hear you.
Sorry about that. I don't know why, but my computer is not giving me any ability to talk to you.
It's okay, man. This is live TV. I've had
That's
many more disastrous things happen,
We
especially
found a workaround.
in my TV days, that you make it work. So it's all good. We're happy to have you. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. Thank you for having me. How are things at South by Southwest?
I love this conference. Thank you for asking. I really think Austin's a cool place, and at this point in the conference, it's the crossover day, so the real rock stars are like coming, and so you get a chance to kind of see, oh yeah, we're education people, we're rock stars in our own mind, but those are real rock stars. And
Excellent.
so, yeah. And then after this, I'm headed to Mexico City tomorrow, and then doing some time in San Miguel. Then I'm going to a very intense coaching event in Cabo. So it's a tough life, Ryan, but somebody does have to
It
live it.
sounds it. It sounds it. But you're just the man to do
So
it.
thank you. And you are just the man for this conversation. And this conversation that we're having is about listening. And while I have been talking about the Raise Your Hand campaign and the idea of listening for 5 years now, it wasn't until you and I had a conversation about this up in Canada, and then you heard one of our shows and you reached out and said, "Man, I wish people listened to me." So, Ryan, before we get into listening and you can tell us some stories, tell everybody who you are, where you are, and kind of relate it, because a lot of our listeners are obviously in the United States. So, if you can
Yep.
relate kind of deputy minister to superintendent.
Perfect. So, uh, essentially, the comparison would be your state secretary of education. Would be my role. And in New Brunswick, Canada, we have two systems essentially, a French and an English system. I'm the deputy minister responsible for our Anglophone education system here. And we had the absolute pleasure of crossing paths in Toronto in October, and have had many very interesting conversations ever since.
Yeah, we did. Of course, again, uh, the Lighthouse brought us together at a Maple Leafs game first,
That's right.
and then we took it from there. And um, if you could just take maybe look into your bag of stories
Mm.
and give us your best, that person didn't ask me a question. That provider really shit the bed the most. If you
Well,
can give us that story.
unfortunately, I have so many
Yeah,
of
I
those
know. Too bad.
examples. I
Big
wish I didn't. But as we've talked about, so many people uh, try to pitch a solution regardless of whether they know whether I need it or not. Uh, and so often they get on a call or sit in my office, and for 20 minutes, I hear their elevator pitch that they're going to fix the world. And I'm a firm believer that no one solution is going to do that. So they're off to a bad start to begin with.
mm,
But also often they're selling me a solution for which I don't have that problem. However, uh, those that I actually get to eventually have that conversation, some of them can fill a gap or augment what we have or improve what we have. And really, that is my message: is come in with a little bit of knowledge of the system and find out whether I have decision making ability or the like, and ask what a few minute explanation of what it's all about, but then ask how we might work together. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish or fix or improve? And sometimes that match becomes organic. But too often they're going to fix the world. Too often they can do anything that I could possibly want. And for me, look, it must work for some, or else they wouldn't be doing it. But in my case, I'm really looking for something that, or a conversation and an example and a demonstration um, of the reality. You can't bring to everybody. You're not going to solve everything, and then it's about convincing the people who are going to use it. So there are very few things that come through the door, even if you convince me that I'm going to buy on the spot. I'm going to want to make sure that the practitioners actually think this is going to work. Uh, that the practitioners want to use this. Um, I was in England not too long ago and talking to another jurisdiction that had gone all in on a technology. Only 20% of their educators are using it. And I said, well, had you talked to your folks about whether they wanted this or not? And it's like, well, no, they took the shiny object, which is something that I have promoted that we don't do and won't do, is go after the shiny object. I'm a firm believer that if we go in on a shiny object today, we're obsolete tomorrow. They keep leapfrogging each other anyway. If you look at the way AI and technology is advancing at the moment, so I much prefer the approach of trialing it and improving it and getting it embedded from the ground up.
One of the things that um, I'll admit this to you, I don't think I've ever said this. One of the things that intimidated me initially about you, and now I really have come to appreciate, is that you do not mince words. And a lot of people in that I found in my own experience in the education space that are in your position or principals, they do mince words, and they won't give you a quick yes or a quick no. I'm sure you're very good at that. And then one of the words you used very clearly, and I don't have an instant replay machine here yet, but you said eventually. I don't know if I did that eventually justice, but I tried. What did you mean by that eventually when you said that?
Well, at the end of the day, you're right. I do go for the quick yes or quick no. And if it's a quick no, I'm going to need data and a use case to convince me otherwise. The same with the yes. Can be a
Yeah.
quick yes, but then the client service and the data better come with it. And that's not always the case. You and I talked in on one of your shows about a technology that had come through the door, a tutoring technology that we are still using, but the client service started to go down. And if you don't have me fully bought in and you don't have all my money yet, and the client service goes down, what can I expect once it's fully integrated? So I'm certainly cognizant of that as we evaluate what we're going to do and when we're going to do it with the different technologies, with the different solutions. And yeah, I certainly, I don't mean to be intimidating, but time is valuable. And at the end of the day, I want what's best for my system.
Yeah, no, that word intimidating, that's all on me. And that's going to be on anybody that approaches you. And honestly, when I think back to some of the more intimidating people I have worked with when I was uh, selling my aftercare or my tutoring, those people helped me grow the most. I can specifically remember one principal at a school called Rosemary Hills outside of Washington, D.C. She was tough. Every year, she's like, now I want to try this, and I want to do that, and we got to get rid of this. And that was great. So there was a lot of growth.
She made you better.
The She did. She did. Um, but back then, I was a bull in a china shop. And so I didn't
You
necessarily
also don't
think
remember
that.
all the ones that paid you lip service, so you remember her.
Exactly. I really do. I really do. When when you get a chance to bring a provider into your office, you told me an interesting story, and so I can only paint around the edges here because I want you to tell the real meat. But didn't you have somebody come in, and they came in, with like a $20 proposal, and they ended up walking out with like 10x that, right? So I'll tell that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, so it wasn't in education, actually. It was in a previous life, but they came in and they had a solution for which they knew they could augment or fix something for me. But then in the conversation, we realized that they were much more than that, and they could actually, we could use a lot of what they had to offer. So that's where getting into that rich conversation about what it is on my side I need and what is it on your side that you can actually offer. Not a presumption of what I need, but truly building it together.
And a couple of the words that you used that are so important there, you said conversation, not presentation. Let's have a conversation, not a presentation. That's why I can't stand demos. And one of the things that I think is most interesting is when you do get into a conversation with somebody and you are listening to them, you're hearing the problem and you have a product that you better know the ins and outs of better than anybody else.
Hmm.
And when the person you're talking to describes their problem, you can say, here's how I can solve it. What if I could tell you I can solve that problem using this approach? Now, what I want to point out is that it's not, what if I could solve that problem and I'll build something for you? No, no, no. You got to have it,
Right.
okay? But you are able, if you are able to listen to people and hear what their challenge is and you can solve it, great. I actually just had a conversation here, did a strategy session with somebody. Her name is Kara. She's fantastic. She listens to the show. We get a chance to meet up at every conference. And we were talking about her SEL solution. And she wants to sell her SEL solution to boys and girls clubs, YMCAs. And we were talking about the fact that her SEL solution is going to be a reason that the people at the YMCA stay longer, work longer, enjoy their work more. Therefore, it is a hiring solution, not just a curriculum. It's a hiring solution. And when you have that conversation, you're playing chess and everybody else playing checkers. Go ahead. What do you have to say?
Well, what she solved was a problem. She wasn't selling a product. She was solving a problem. And there are lots of products. And if that's what I wanted, I'd go buy it off the shelf. What I want is to be able to solve a problem or augment something that we have or improve something that we have. So it's about telling that story. It's about reaching in and making life better or easier. It's not about the product
When
for me, anyway.
I think um, I was going to say, I think for everybody, that's a real blanket statement, but I think that's pretty much true. That we all have problems and we all want to be heard. And we eventually want the product, but really first we want to be heard.
Hmm.
And that's the way that we build that um, conversation and we get to know each other better. So, can you give us from the education space, give us a really good story of, and obviously you feel free to use their name, of a company that
Mm.
did come in, that did listen, and you guys have lived happily ever after.
We are in conversation now with a company, and everything was going swimmingly. We identified a small issue, and this issue has been an issue with some other providers. And I've had two different experiences. So the company that I'm working with right now, we identify the issue, they acknowledge the issue, and we're working on a solution. The other company, uh, we'll end up working to find our way through this issue. The other company also we identify the issue, we brought it to them, and they said, well, nobody's ever identified this before. So, like, other jurisdictions use it, basically get over it. And you can just imagine how long they'll be working with us.
That's funny. It doesn't take me much imagination uh, to figure that out. Um, and that's okay though.
But truthfully, that willingness to work with us makes all the difference in the world.
So let me ask you a question. Let me present this: is that when I was in the aftercare space, um, I was generally doing things differently than most of my competitors. And at that point, I had no interest in building any technology. And so I would use off the shelf products. And it was about every 3 years that I would outgrow the product that I was using. And it was almost like dating, and the CEO would eventually come to me and be like, Josh, I don't know if we're the best fit for you anymore. What you're asking, nobody else needs it. So either you can pay a lot of money and we'll build it, or it might be time for us to part ways. And the first time that happened, I was like, ouch. And my heart was broken. You know, obviously they're not as into me as I'm into them. But it was the right move. And so
For both of you.
for both of us, absolutely. There was a business decision for them and a business decision for us. So could the provider you were talking about that might not be in your life much longer, could they have approached that in a different way?
Certainly, and truthfully, I think they will quickly recognize that it's going to become an issue for other jurisdictions. They just haven't figured it out yet. If they truly hadn't heard it before, so acknowledging the problem would have been a really good first step, because it's a problem for us. So dismissing the problem or claiming it's probably isn't the right approach. Hearing us out, understanding your point. If it's a business decision, give me a solution that's too expensive, and then it's my choice. Or the decision essentially that they're making is, we interested in fixing this. So you're either going to use it with the flaw, or you're going to drop us. And so that's where we're headed.
Yeah. I guess at the end of the day, it kind of comes back to what I experienced yesterday and I will today. What you and I experienced up in Toronto is that it's all about relationships, especially in a business like education, where we're all getting together, whether it's Austin or Toronto or San Diego, or for you, many exotic, wonderful places that you get to go to. Um, it's all about relationships. So there's a way to handle things. And even if it's not what you want to hear, or in this case, maybe it's not what Ryan, your client, is going to want to hear, but at least just be clear with them and offer a solution, or tell them this is the end of the road. Here's why, and I'll help you as long as I can. But this doesn't make business sense for me, and I'll help you. Find the right provider. It comes down to relationships.
And
When
truthfully, the education space is small. We talked about this in the past. We don't do a whole lot without talking to others who have had experience, unless the provider is brand new out of the gates.
Yeah,
So unless I'm the guinea pig, I'm calling one of my colleagues. And if I'm the guinea pig, they're going to call me after.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tight knit community in education, amongst the superintendents, amongst the deputy ministers, and we want to know what the experience is, company and with the product.
Yeah, it's such a really important point. It's relationship driven among us, and I don't know why I'm putting myself in your bucket because I've never been a deputy minister or superintendent or anything like that. But I get it. It's also a trust market,
That's what
and
gets you through the
if
door, right? Trust and relationships is what's going to get you through the door, and then you got to go prove yourself.
yeah, totally. And what I don't know if providers recognize is that you can make a decision in your position that could cost you your job.
Absolutely.
And that's not necessarily the situation that I'm in. It was in the aftercare space. Um, but for you, you're putting your name, your reputation, your job, your future, your family's good fortune on the line potentially for a provider. So it's not just a, hey, come on in and let's see what happens. Is that right? I mean, that could happen. I don't want it
It
to.
certainly can be. I mean, you put a lot of weight on my shoulders here, but certainly, if we go in with the wrong provider and waste enough money or put private information at risk, those things can absolutely be career limiting.
Yeah. My situation was in the after school enrichment space. Um, we worked with PTAs, and for every PTA we had about 82 schools. We had about 10 to 15 providers that would come each week, and uh, those providers were the ones that hired their instructors. So 82 times 15 is how many instructors we let through that door. And if one of them was a pedophile or a criminal and did something, my business, my life was at risk. So
Absolutely.
uh, I felt that. Obviously, different situation that you're in, but I felt that, and that's a lot of weight to your point. So you have become more active on LinkedIn, which I'm loving seeing. As we wrap up here, um, I think that it would be really helpful if you can kind of let people know how they can follow you on LinkedIn. I know you have an event coming up in April, so for our people who want to go explore New Brunswick, Canada, let them know that. Just tell them who you are.
So fantastic. My my LinkedIn is simply my name, Ryan Donaghy. So I am fairly active on there. Try to post a couple times a week, and I certainly try to answer when people take the opportunity to comment. So I like to engage more than it being a one way conversation. And the third week of April, we are doing a tech event with Robert Martellacci, who you mentioned off the top, at UMB Fredericton, and that is on April 22nd, an EdTech event. That's going to be followed by our third annual EdTech and AI Summit. So we bring together 250 thought leaders from our system and folks from around the world to talk about what the experience is, where are we going with this, and it really is a thought-provoking couple of days. I'm really looking forward to that. And certainly, I look forward to continuing to engage with yourself and your listeners and viewers as we continue to watch and partake in the evolution that EdTech is. It's been evolving for the past 3 decades, but the speed at which it's changing and moving is nothing that we've experienced in the past.
Yeah, cool. Well, Ryan also happens to be a proud member of the Entourage. And if you want to join the Entourage, that's our free school community. There's the QR code right there. You can grab it. Barbara Grimm is a member of the Entourage as well. And she posted something there in the comments. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you taking the time to share your insights. Ryan's great. Ryan, you and Barbara, by the way, is, and I say this totally lovingly because I would say it about John as well, Gamba, like from Philadelphia. And if there was ever a place where they don't mince words, it's Philadelphia. So I think you and Barbara could have, just like a very short, non-mincing words conversation. And Barbara's great. She's got a really important tool that she's working on called School Responder. So
We'll have to
Ryan,
find ourselves
thank
on
you.
LinkedIn.
You guys will. I'm sure she will. Thank you for joining. Anybody who wants to find Ryan, find him on LinkedIn, read his stuff. He will also listen to you. He practices what he preaches. Join the Entourage. And I am going off to watch the great John Gamba speak. He talks at 12 here in the Marriott. And then at 2:30, we will be hosting our second meetup, which a lot of people are coming up to me and saying, when's the party? I'm like, it's a meetup. But if you
Can be a
want
party.
to party,
It can be a party.
I've been known to go to a few parties in my day. So all good. Whatever you want to call it, just come if you're in South by Southwest. Ryan, again, thank you for the meeting. Thank you for coming in, looking as sharp as always, and your words cut through as well. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh. Good to talk to you.
All right, everybody, have a good one. And if you're at South by Southwest EDU, let's party. Thank you, guys.